So now we've come to the most exciting part, which is layering the cakes. We have done too much of hard work. We've made the sponge and then the frosting and the filling and everything is here. And then the ring has been prepared, and now is when the hard work is just going to see the fruits of the hard work. Okay, so now I have the sponge ready, the vanilla butter sponge, and then that is strawberry compote. Now why I have strawberry compote in a vanilla buttercream assembly is to just show you how to add additional flavoring element into a butter cake. Now, if I'm going to skip this part completely, then whatever we are going to do will be a plain vanilla butter cake. Obviously, in this there is pastry cream added, and you know that your cakes are going to taste amazingly well, right? Now, if I have to turn this plain vanilla buttercream cake into a strawberry buttercream cake or a caramel buttercream cake or a Nutella or peanut butter, all the different flavors that we have learnt. Now, for that, I am going to include this as an additional step to show you as a variation what you could do with assembling a vanilla buttercream cake. Okay, so the buttercream is filled in this, strawberry compote is filled in this. I have two sponges. I am going to cut them, each of them, into two. So that is called as torting a cake. Okay, so let me remove the cling wrap. So the cake has been freezing overnight, and I have just taken it out about 20 minutes back. The cake is cold and firm, and there is no condensation on the outside, because you cannot take it out of the freezer. You can't just think in the last minute and then like, oh, it's still in the freezer, can I take it out, and then start removing the cling wrap and then layer it. That's not going to work, because once you remove the cling wrap, when the condensation is still not happened on the outside of the cake, outside of the cling wrap, then the condensation will continue to happen on the cake. And now you don't want any extra moisture to be coming on top of the cake, and because that is going to soak up in the sponge, which you don't want. Okay, so now for torting the cake, have a serrated knife. So that's a serrated knife. Just hold it, check for the half from the top, and do not allow this whole part of the serrated knife to go in. Don't start cutting from here and then go in and try to come out on the other side. Hold it on the side and then make a marking. To make the marking, I have just sent half of the serrated knife inside and the half is out. Do not send in fully. Just hold it straight, make a marking, and once your serrated knife has met the marking around where you started, and that is when you let the serrated knife go in, and after which keep turning the cake, okay, and go through the marking that you made, and the knife will meet in the center, and then you will have the sponge that is being cut into two. Now one of the sponge is ready. Let me do the step for the other sponge as well. I am going to tote the second sponge as well in the same way. Make a marking, don't let the serrated knife go into the sponge, go around, keep turning the cake, and once you have the knife met the marking that you made, keep turning and send the knife in, and then you will have the knife coming out of the second half easily, and then you will have the sponge toted. Now we have 4 layers of the sponge here, cut and then ready to be layered. Okay, you have the board ready. Any cake board should be fine, and then it has the OHP sheet also there. Now to begin with, I'm just going to get the IMBC. You need 1 dollop amount of buttercream on the bottom because you want the sponge to be properly sticking onto the board. You don't want it to move. Now, depending on the size of the cake ring and the cake pan that you're using to bake the cake, it could go in easily, or you might have to cut the edges. Now this, I'm just pressing it down on the side so it just fits inside well, right? You also need to have the center so it just goes and stays in place, touches the bottom board. Okay, so you can check from the sides how it looks. So nice and beautiful. Now the second layer after the cake is the Italian meringue buttercream itself. I could start from the outside. I'd like to cut open to a bigger hole so piping doesn't take too much time. So one layer of the buttercream. Now if it is a plain buttercream, then just the buttercream is enough, which is nothing but buttercream and the pastry cream in our case. Now because I am going to add strawberry compote as well, I am going to create one more dam. So this step of the dam will come in picture only if there is any other filling that you are going to add. So this dam is needed because after adding the soft filling, you don't want it to spill over. Even in case of the ring, once you remove the ring, you don't want the compote to spill over. I am just chopping off and then I am going to add the filling in the middle. Use a spatula or a spoon to spread it out. And then on top of this goes another layer of the sponge. So in this layer, I am just going to keep it plain buttercream. Now you could add the strawberry compote if you want a good amount of strawberry flavor in the layer. Now this is how you will do if this entire cake will be your vanilla buttercream cake, because you have only the vanilla buttercream filled. So into this, let me just flatten it out, spread it evenly. And now just pressing it down so it fits inside well. So the advantage of the acrylic ring is I can see through, but if it is not there, it's fine. You can just judge by pressing it on the top to check if the level is formed. Now in this layer, I am going to add one layer of the buttercream and create a dam. I have buttercream filled in another piping bag which I am going to start using. So once this is done, let me just flatten out. And this, before adding the strawberry, I want to create a dam. Dam is needed when you are going to use soft fillings which has a tendency of oozing out. It is like in a liquid state, semi solid kind of a thing filling that you are adding. And even after the ring is taken out, you don't want it to ooze out. You want the buttercream to protect this filling inside. And you want to add this filling well within the dam. Spread it out. Keep the filling within the dam. Okay, on top of this, I'm going to add the last layer of the sponge. Press it in. Okay, so the top layer of the sponge, it is very important to not leave it open. You just want to have one more coating because all the sides are sealed, and then the top, even if it doesn't reach to the height of the ring that you are using, you want to seal the top. Okay, and now flatten this so you can ensure it's completely sealed and no air would go in trying to remove the moisture, because we've taken all the care to seal the moisture with a cling wrap, and the time that you have given for it to freeze and all that, so the sponge will remain intact within this ring with a filling. And after this, we need to store this. So though you've added the buttercream on the top, you want still further seal this whole thing with a cling wrap. So seal it from all sides, and this needs to go into the freezer for 2 to 4 hours before you want to take it out and then do the outer frosting. Now by this you have layered the cake. Okay, so the layers will be intact if it is going to come out of the freezer, and when you take it out, the sponge and the filling, everything is going to be in, and what is just left will be the outer frosting. And by then, when the sponge and the whole layer is going to be firm, frosting this is going to be quite easy. Okay, so now let's put this into the freezer, and then let me get back when this is quite firm. I'm going to remove the ring and then show how the layers are staying there intact with the filling. So now we have the vanilla buttercream cake that's in the acrylic ring. nicely set and firm. I'm going to remove this from the ring and finish the cake. So I'm going to get the ring out. Now if you find the ring difficult to remove, just let the spatula or a knife between the OHP sheet and the acrylic ring to just loosen up, because there would be pressure that's built up because the entire layer is there in the freezer. So once you release the OHP sheet and the ring, you can remove the ring and then have the OHP sheet also out. Put the cake in the middle. I'm just going to show you a simple way, because this is your first layered cake, right? So that's the turntable, and I have the buttercream in which the pastry cream is also added, right? I'm just going to use a very thin layer. I'm just going to show you how to do crumb coat like a naked cake. So this cake, let's finish it, the naked cake. So we need a very thin layer, and that's the crumb coat, the first layer that we usually do, and then chill it before we do the final layer of the frosting. I'm going to use a metal scraper and just go around on the sides, scrape off the excess back in the bowl. Make sure you're not catching up crumbs. Just going to seal, because you don't want the sponge to be exposed out. So you want at least a thin layer of the cream. Sides, I just want to leave it like that. So the top, I'm just going to add a very thin layer, because we've already added quite a bit on the top. We just want to add another layer so we could just smooth it out. Just going to create some lines. You could just leave it out. Okay, so I'm just going to clean the board And I'm going to leave this frosting pretty simple. And I have some fresh strawberries to go on top. Just slice them down. So I'm just going to stop there. You could add some fresh mint to just give a color contrast. I have a metal sieve and I'm going to dust some icing sugar on top. So that's just plain icing sugar. I'm going to place the sieve and add some icing sugar on top and then just tap it. So just drizzle on the top. We've just come to the end of finishing the first layered cake, which is the vanilla buttercream cake. We've made the vanilla butter sponge and then we've made the vanilla buttercream cake. We know we've added a secret ingredient to make the buttercream really very rich and nice. And we've also learned how to include different other flavors. In this case, it is the strawberry compote, and this is a vanilla buttercream, or this strawberry buttercream cake also is what you can call this. Okay, so this is your first layered cake, and looking forward to seeing your beautiful creation with whatever we've learned through this entire layered cake lesson. So with this, we've come to the end of making the vanilla buttercream cake with variations.